Yes, welcome to our film talk with the director and the producer of the Norwegian children's film, The Crossing. I'm very happy to introduce the director to you, Johanne Helgeland, maybe you, and the producer of the film from MyPo Films, Cornelia Boysen. I'm so happy that we have the chance at least to meet in the virtual world and talk about the film project. And Johanna, this is your first feature film you made, and may I ask why you chose to take such a serious topic for your first film and not easy family entertainment?
Well, I think Maja Lunde, the author, she came with this project almost 10 years ago. Yeah, I think 10 years ago. And at that time, she had a really short pitch. And she said it's about 4 children having to flee during the Second World War. And I just realized that it hadn't been made a film about 4 children, about children during the Second World War in Norway. It's always been films about grown-ups, and some films even with children in the leading parts, but anyway, for a grown-up audience. And I think it was just the idea of being able to tell a story like this to a young audience that felt really important in a way, and was a good idea, I think.
So from the first moment, the target group was children for the film? Okay. And Cornelia, may I ask how you came into this project and what maybe was the most excited for MyPo Film about this project?
Actually, I came aboard. I turned the project down once. That was before Johanne was attached, and but Maja and Johanne came back to me some years later in 2015 with the project. And at that point, Maja had written a book because she was tired of waiting for funding for a film, and she had written a script and worked a bit together with Johanne at that point in developing it. And it had a topic that was not, I turned it down the first time because I thought, we've seen so many films about the war. Should we see another one? Is this the right one? Should we not tell news stories for kids about the world they're living in now? But when it came back in 2015, it was in the middle of the big refugee crisis. And it had suddenly touched on so many levels that we felt were important to tell. It was the historical view, which was about, learning from your history. And it also was about children fleeing, which is unfortunately is happening all the time in the world. So it had so many levels that it met our wishes on, or what we wanted to make for kids.
Okay, thank you. I will do a quick translation of the things we talked about until now. Ja, der Film The Crossing ist der erste Spielfilm von der Regisseurin Johanne Helgeland, und sie hat das Projekt übernommen, nachdem schon viele Jahre daran gearbeitet wurde. 10 Jahre in etwa ist es her, dass die Idee aufkam, diesen Film zu machen. Es ist der erste Film, der im Zweiten Weltkrieg spielt, der sich an Kinder als Publikum wendet. Und sie fand es sehr spannend, eben genauso ein schwieriges und kompliziertes Thema als ihren ersten Film zu verwirklichen. Die Produzentin Cornelia hat uns erzählt, dass sie das Projekt erstmal sogar gar nicht haben wollte, abgelehnt hat. Und als dann aber 2015 das Filmteam nochmal auf sie zukam und der Film vorgestellt wurde, das Projekt, hat sie gesagt, doch, das ist wichtig. Also auch wenn es schon viele Filme über den Krieg gab, ist es ganz wichtig, auch einen für Kinder zu erzählen. Das war 2015 die große Flüchtlingskrise. Menschen aus Syrien sind nach Europa gekommen, und das war plötzlich ein Film, der eben nicht nur historisch war, sondern der ganz viele aktuelle Punkte aufgegriffen hat. Und das war dann sehr spannend für die Produktionsfirma. Okay, it's a film for children, and in the leading roles you have children actors. Maybe you can tell a little bit about how you found your actors and whether it was very difficult or easy. I don't know who.
It wasn't that difficult actually. We didn't have a big budget on this film, so we couldn't kind of choose between hundreds and hundreds. So it was actually maybe from a group of 100 children. We found those 4 characters, and Anna, the leading role, who plays Gerda, I think we found her almost first. So the boys came a bit later, but it was quite obvious actually. It was between Anna and one more girl, and Anna had this unexplainable, you just get curious about her in a way, and she has this toughness as well as her vulnerability, I think. So it made a good mix for the part.
Were they all unexperienced in acting, or had they experienced?
Yes, none of them had ever played in theater or film before, so it was their first go at it.
And I can imagine here in Germany, I think when you learn about the Second World War, you are at least in the very beginning of secondary school. So how did you prepare the kids to act in their roles? Did you tell them a lot about what happened back in the Second World War, or did you just gave them little information? How did you work with the kids?
We talked a lot about that actually, because it's a bit surprising how less or how little they know about the Second World War at that age, I think, even if they're very interested in the theme at that age. But yes, we talked a lot about it, and we actually had we visited the Holocaust Center in Oslo, and we had a guided tour there adapted for the children, and we also talked about today's situation, and like Cornelia said, that not since World War II has there been more refugees than now, and half of them are children under the age of 16, so it's quite dramatic today as well.
Okay, thank you. A little translation in between. Ich habe danach gefragt, wie Sie Ihre Kinderschauspieler gefunden haben und ob das ein schwieriger Prozess war. Und Johanne hat erzählt, Sie haben kein riesiges Budget dafür gehabt und haben so aus 100 Kindern die Schauspieler gewählt. Und es war eigentlich gar nicht so schwierig. Ihre Hauptfigur, die Gerda spielt, die hatten Sie als erste gefunden, weil sie sowas ganz, ganz Tolles direkt hatte. Und insofern war es nicht so schwierig, die Kinder zu finden. Sie haben mit den Kindern ganz viel über die Zeit des Zweiten Weltkriegs gesprochen, weil sie auch ein bisschen überrascht waren, wie wenig die Kinder bis dahin davon wussten, obwohl sie daran interessiert waren. Und sie sind in Oslo auch in das Holocaust-Gedenkzentrum gegangen und haben eben auch darüber gesprochen, dass es auch heute noch Flüchtlinge gibt und dass fast die Hälfte aller Flüchtlinge, die unterwegs sind, Kinder unter 14 Jahren sind. Okay, so it's a film, at least it seems like to be a very big production. You have a lot of actors, you have a lot of different locations. Can you tell us a little bit how you shot the film? Did you use studios, or did you travel a lot for doing the shooting?
No, actually, the center from the production was Oslo, and then we had 30 minutes driving radius from Oslo. So everything is very compact in a way, and as I said earlier, it's not a big budget movie. So we found every location, and we didn't build any sets or anything. And we used, when we were outside, we worked only with natural lighting. apart from a few scenes shot in the dark. So it was very downscaled in a way, but at the same time, I think it gives a good energy to find locations that are actually the real thing. And it's amazing that that's still possible, I think, to do that. And Oslo is also surrounded by a lot of forest, so it's a good place to be when you're shooting things like this as well.
Okay, so you never went to Sweden for...
No, we didn't. But of course, that would have been nice to actually go to the border city Halden and to shoot it where it actually happened. But I think children won't react too much to that, I think. And forest is in a way. So, yeah.
Ja, der Film wurde in Oslo gedreht und alles, was nicht in Oslo gedreht wurde, wurde im Umkreis von 30 Minuten von Oslo gedreht. Das heißt, die meiste Zeit waren sie in einer Gegend, wo man nicht sich viel bewegen musste. Und das Gute, um die Hauptstadt Norwegens, Oslo drumherum, gibt es ganz viel Wald, sodass man auch die Waldszenen, die später im Film auftauchen, gut dort drehen konnte. Und sie haben keine extra Kulissen gebaut und auch keine Studios benutzt, sondern sie haben immer an Orten gedreht, die wirklich noch ganz ähnlich so aussahen, wie man sich das vorstellt, wie es in den 40er Jahren war. Und für die Außenaufnahmen haben sie auch versucht, kein künstliches Licht zu nutzen, sondern mit den Gegebenheiten zu arbeiten, die sie vorgefunden haben. It's a serious topic, and I remember years ago when we had Max Manus in the cinemas, I read that it was the most successful Norwegian film ever in Norway. How was the reaction from the audience when the crossing came out in Norway?
Would you like to say something about that, Cornelia?
I can say something about that. It was very good, and it was we had terrific reviews in all the newspapers and radio reviews and everything. So we were really happy about that, and the crowds were going to see it, and we had a release 14th of February this year. So we were unfortunately closed down 12th of March, but we actually are at now it's 140,000 admissions and tickets sold, which is really, really good. So if we had, it's good for a children's film. It's good for a children's film with a serious topic. And we are only 5.5 million people in Norway. So we are a much smaller market than Germany. So we're really happy about the numbers. And we see that if we haven't been shut down in March, we would have reached, even higher. But that one nobody could do anything about. But we're really happy, and it's traveling really, really well. It's been sold to the US. It has done a lot of festivals. It won some prizes. So we're really happy about the film, and it shows that families and children really also want films that has not only the entertainment value, but that you can take something home from and discuss, which was one of our really big goals about the film, was to get the families to discuss the topics that we touch into and talk about.
We are very happy that we have the honor to hold the German premiere of the film here at the Nordic Film in Lübeck. Thank you for giving the film to us. And do you know whether already some German distributors showed interest in the film or television station?
I know there are discussions at the moment, so we're crossing our fingers.
Yes, we do. Is there anything else you want to add to tell the audience about the film, or that we hit the main points?
Maybe just what Cornelia said a little, that I think I've gotten a lot of messages from people that say that they have a really good conversation afterwards, and that was one of our goals for the film as well, that there are stories in almost every family, and grandparents are much closer to this period than so there are a lot of stories to be told from generation to generation, and I think maybe this film can push that curiosity in the children, and that's what we're hoping for.
One more translation. Wir haben darüber gesprochen, wie der Film in Norwegen aufgenommen wurde, wo er schon in den Kinos lief. Er ist dort im Februar gestartet, kurz bevor auch in Norwegen der erste Lockdown kam. Und trotzdem hat er sehr gute Besucherzahlen gemacht. Fast 150.000 Besucher hat er in den Kinos gehabt. Das ist für ein Land mit 5 Millionen Einwohnern, wie Norwegen es hat, sehr, sehr gut. Und das, obwohl die Kinos schließen mussten. Und auch international wird dieser Film sehr gut aufgenommen. Viele Festivals haben ihn schon gezeigt. Er ist schon nach Amerika verkauft. Und wir bei den Nordischen Filmtagen in Lübeck haben die große Ehre, die Deutschlandpremiere für den Film auszurichten. Und darüber freuen wir uns sehr, und wir haben auch gehört, dass es schon erste Interessenten gibt, vielleicht, dass der Film auch nach Deutschland verkauft wird und hier im Kino präsentiert wird. Und die Reaktion der Besucher war ganz oft so, dass auch ans Filmteam rückgemeldet wurde, dass es sehr viele Gespräche nach dem Film gab, mit Familienmitgliedern, mit Großeltern, und dass es ein guter Ausgangspunkt ist, um über das Thema Zweiter Weltkrieg zu sprechen, auch mit Kindern. Und das war auch sehr wichtig, also die wollten einen Film machen, der bleibt, dass man etwas mitnimmt aus dem Kino und vielleicht wirklich auch Anlass hat, sich mehr mit den Themen zu beschäftigen. Okay, so we really keep our fingers crossed for a German distributor, and I really hope that although we are facing the second wave of the COVID pandemic, that you have the chance to travel to more festivals with the film. And yes, thank you for taking the time to talk about The Crossing. And yeah, it was very nice meeting you. And thank you for this really, really important and wonderful children's film.
Oh, thank you. And thank you for representing us at the festival, and good luck with it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. Okay. Bye.
Bye. Bye. Bye.